So we're going to lesson number 10, and again, it's more focusing on you. Who are you personally? At this point, you start digging in. At this point, you really start, over here I talked about your friends. If you're hanging out with people who are lazy, that means you're lazy. That's what it means. If you have people who don't give you feedback, you know what feedback is? There's two kinds of feedback. There's two kinds of communicators, in your face or in your back. There's only two kinds there are. And most people are in the back. He's not going to make it. He's going to, you know what he said yesterday? And that's when I came back from Vietnam in 1974. I was just disgusted. I said, I fought for these pack of losers here. Watching today, the soap operas and all this. And what did I fight for? But I got the best lesson from me. I'm fighting for my own sanity also. What am I smart at? Does that make sense, you guys here? And it's up to you. I don't know what it is, but it's up to you. The big point of it to me is this, is that we go to school to improve our minds. There's the body and the spirit. And a lot of times people are successful in school, but they're not successful physically or spiritually. That makes sense? Yeah? Yes. They don't have the guts. The Jewish people call it chutzpah. Because really that's what it takes. They want the easy road, they want somebody to hand it to them and all this, and that's fine. That's why I talk about Donald Trump. The reason he hangs, he said to me point blank, he says, if I didn't sell more books than him, he wouldn't co-author a book with me. He only hangs out with people who play to win versus people who play not to lose. So a big part of your spirit is the spouse, your partner, and all this. Like I say, I'm not trying to be cruel about it, but I'm out there playing to win. I cooperate and I play with the best team possible. The number one member of my team on the spiritual side, but also the mental side and the financial side is my wife, Kim. Let me bring my wife, Kim, here. I mean, she's physically beautiful, incredible mind, but she's a great, most loving person I've ever met in my life. And she plays to win. And I know she didn't marry me for money. We've been married 20 years now. I know she'd been marrying me for the money because we didn't have any money, right?
We had no money. We celebrated when we hit zero. That's when we popped the champagne. We were so under zero.
Yeah, because I was so deeply in debt from that last business, and then we just paid our way out of it. And we never stopped investing, never stopped doing what we needed to do. And that's the tape, how we got out of debt. Because Donald's been in debt, I've been in debt. And it's your spirit actually that pulls you out of it. More than your mind, more than anything else. Your spirit, how strong is your spirit? And that's what I'm talking about. And when I meet people who are not at their peak, not at their prime, something has shut down on them. They decided it's okay to lose. Like she never gives up on how good she looks. I never give up on how my appearance is physically. But some people get they just bloat out. I see them every day on my circle. They need a whip. Wah, wah. But they don't want that.
But it's easier just to walk around the circle.
Yeah.
It's more comfortable.
It's easier to be fat, dumb, and ugly. You don't have to do anything for that, and unhappy. Because gravity will do that for you. You just sit around, you'll get fat, you'll get ugly, and you become unhappy. Does that make sense, you guys here? Yes. So the most powerful thing is the spirit here. And this is what I'm really proud of my sweetheart here. This is her book, Rich Woman. And she really is a rich woman. She owns her own corporation. So that if we ever got divorced, we don't need a prenup because it's already split. Not that we'd ever split, but it's already the way we do business. She is fiercely independent. And that's what I want. I didn't want some woman who's going to, you got to take care of me so I can go shopping with my girlfriends, Well, some guys like that. Some guys like me, Tarzan, you, Jane, And then, well, no, there's different strokes for different folks. I wanted a partner in my life. And we have different partners. Anna Nicole Miller always wanted an old guy with a lot of money. She loved him, though, I'm sure. If he didn't have his money, I don't know if she'd love him, but who knows, what I'm saying? Everybody's got their own deal going with God. And my deal was that I wanted to marry a woman who was gorgeous, smart, kind, and likes to win. That's why I said you tee off from the men's tee, right?
I do tee off from the men's tee, because I figure if I ever get into a tournament where I have to tee off from the women's tees, that's going to seem so easy.
Yeah.
So that's what I do, and that's why I push. And just to, we so are a team, and the reason Rich Woman came out is because Robert and I would travel the world, and he would be talking about the Rich Dad philosophy and the information, and then he would push me, literally push me on stage, because it was the scariest thing I could do, and he said, get up there and speak a little bit about women and investing, and he'd push me up there, and I'd do my 5 and 10 minutes, and then at the breaks I would be inundated by women. Doesn't matter what city, what country, same issues, same questions, and that's where Rich Woman came about, was answering and really addressing those issues that are unique to women when it comes to money and investing. But as a team, once the book came out, then I'm now doing more talks and more interviews, and he's pushing me, and I'll go do a talk, and he'll go, okay, try this, try that. And you know, I hate feedback. I don't like to be told, this is where you screwed up. Here's where you did it wrong. I hate to hear it, but if I don't hear it, I don't get better. So he's become really a great coach, and the team, you know, now he's given back to me as I get to be the student. He gets to teach me about interviews and what to do on stage, and it's really, again, strengthened the relationship because we do work so well together.
Yeah. I'm like our coach on the public, you know, presentation side. She's the only person in the company that allows me to do that. Everybody else wants to be the expert.
Well, I don't think I could get a better coach when it comes to that.
So, thank you. So that's how we're a partnership or a team, and it's a very spiritual bond. And why don't you give a couple of stats on women?
Well, one of the surprising statistics when it comes to women and why it's so important that women start to take control is that 47% of women over the age of 50 are single, meaning most of these women have to take care of themselves financially. And the divorce rate in most countries, many countries, especially in the US, is 1 out of 2 marriages ends in divorce. And who usually ends up with the children? The woman. The first year after divorce, a woman's standard of living drops an average of 74%. So he may be working, she might be the stay-at-home mom, all of a sudden they're divorced, she has to take care of herself and her kids, and she struggles financially to do that. Of female baby boomers, these are women in their 40s to 60, 58% have less than $10,000 set aside for retirement. So those are some of the statistics of the elderly living in poverty. 3 out of 4 are women, yet 80% of those women were not poor when their husbands were alive. So many of us women, I think, haven't been prepared. We've actually been taught to depend on somebody else for our financial well-being. And the statistics now are saying that's not working anymore. So
which is why when we got married, she has her own company, her own corporations, her own assets, her own cash flow, her own bank account. It's because I want her to be an independent woman, not need me, then we can cooperate better. It's really tough to cooperate when somebody's like, you know, that's not what I wanted. So it's your deal, whatever deal you want to make. And unfortunately, in the African American community, it's even greater number of women are single than are married, right? So that's why it becomes more imperative today that we have financial education available, which is why we made these cash flow clubs are so important, because it's people teaching people, people helping people, people demanding the other person get better, be a coach to the other person. Does that make sense, you guys? Here? Yes. If somebody in your club wants to play a wimp, you know, let them go someplace else and play wimp. Don't let them play wimp on your time, on your dime.
Because there's one thing about Rich Woman is not for wimpy women. If you want to really tick me off, become a wimpy woman.
So a big hand for my sweetheart here. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the last part was why the rich are getting richer, or what some of the distinctions are. When you look at the quadrant again, number one, you got to find your genius. I mean, what is it you're really good at? What is it, win or lose, you want to play the game? You know, bowling, if I lose, I don't want to play again. But I don't need to be a bowler. But in business, when I lose, I just get more stimulated. I go, that's it. I just lost a real estate deal yesterday. I am just, you know what? It just inspires me to go after another deal now. You know, so what happens is if you're a true winner, losing inspires you to win more. And if you're a loser, you're crushed spiritually, you've lost. Does that make sense, you guys? Yes. So these guys here, because for most of them, they don't have much financial education, what they need are securities. That's why these guys develop them, and they sell securities to these people. They call stocks, bonds, mutual funds, REITs, stuff like that. They're secure, they're packaged. It's like going to the supermarket and buying a filet, a roast, ribs, and all that. They've already chopped up the beast and given it to you. Does that make sense, you guys here? So they pre-package everything. The FDA, what is FDA food? Anyway, the government says, this thing is free of salmonella or whatever it is. They have all the highest standards. And for most people, 90% of the population, they should buy securities. But they're the least secure of all the assets. Because these guys are just stealing blind from these guys, taking in fees and all this legally. Okay, so it's very, very different mentality. What happens on this side over here is it's called putting a deal together. You put a deal together. And that's the difference. That's what these guys are doing. So to get from the rat race to the fast track, you really have to understand this. You should understand, about sales and marketing and business and all this stuff, so you can put a deal together. So I'm not out there looking for securities, stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. I sell securities. When I take a company public, I sell stock. I don't buy stock. These guys buy, these guys sell. Does that make sense, you guys here? There's a very big, these guys save, these guys borrow. And they borrow from these guys, because these guys want security. The bank will pay them 5%, 10%, what they pay them. And these guys will take this money and ramp it up to 100%. That's the difference. They're very different people. This side, security. This side, put the deal together. And I know it's politically incorrect, but I like hunting. Well, it's so bad you hunt. But let me tell you what. Just as a person goes out hunting for a bargain, right? I'm going to go to the shopping center and look for a bargain. That's called hunting. And it's the same thing I do every day. I'm hunting for a bargain. I'm not looking out for security. I'm looking for an opportunity out here. That's why they're called big deal, small deal opportunity cards. I'm looking for an opportunity. It's a hunter's mentality. I'm looking at real estate not because it's nicely packaged. I'm looking at a piece of real estate that's all busted up so I can do something with it. I'm looking for one that's either busted up because the management is bad or the financing is bad. When I look at a business to take over, I'm looking at it for how can I put this deal together? And that's why I recommend this book here, for those who are ready to move on to the B and the I side. It's called Before You Quit Your Job. And it's about what you should know before you become a professional on this side. So you should get your education, your coaching, and all this stuff down, but there's still other pieces to put together. And what the Before You Quit Your Job is about is this. It's about what Before You Quit Your Job is about the BI triangle on the B and the I side. And this is what B's and I's do. They first have a mission. So the mission of Rich Dad is to elevate the financial well-being of humanity, to make this education available for free or as low a cost as possible to those who want to learn it. That was my mission. Then I have my team, and then it requires leadership. Once I have that, then I focus on the product, the legal, the systems. Like a car is a system of systems. Brake system, hydraulic system, gas system, stuff like that. A body is a system of systems. Heart system, blood system, brain system, nerve systems, and all that. So everything runs on systems. The problem with being an S is you are the entire thing. With a B and an I, I'm putting the systems together, have somebody build it. Communications is sales and marketing. There's three people you got to communicate to. That's why sales, learning how sales dogs is such an important book. You're selling either to your investors to raise capital, you're selling to the customers in the marketplace, or you're selling your employees why they should work for less money. Those are the three things you're doing in selling. And then there's cash flow, and this is cash flow over here. So the purpose of the cash flow game was to teach people this basic here because all of it is reflected here. How well this company is running is reflected here. If sales are down, it'll reflect right here. If expenses are high, it'll reflect right here. If your legal department, legal fees are too high, it'll reflect right away. So that's why cash flow is the basis. Does that make sense to you guys here? Yes. So on the B and the I side, I'm putting a deal together. I'm putting this together. It doesn't make a difference if it's business or real estate. A true entrepreneur is putting things together. I don't have to be the smartest guy. I have to be a pretty good leader, though. That's what the Marine Corps taught me. That's what the military school taught me. That's what network marketing teaches people, how to be leaders and not such a wimpy little person running around the place. That's why I support network marketing. I teach leadership. Can you put a good team together, and can you put a mission together? That's what the B's and I's are doing. When you get to be that, then you can move in real life onto this side over here. Does that make sense? So since I was a kid, all I've been learning to do is I worked this, I worked that, I worked that, I worked that, worked that, worked that, worked that, worked that, worked that. And that was really my educational path. That's why the other one is called school smarts. This is street smarts. I've got to be wise on the street. I got to know who's good, who's bad on my team. Do I make sense, guys, here? Yes. And that took me years. It didn't take Trump that long, Donald that long. It took me a while to learn it or figure it out. And I'm still learning it. I'm still in the process of learning it. So that's why before you quit your job, it's an important book to read. It's about how these pieces come together. A final statement is this. The difference between entrepreneurs and guys with MBAs is this. When you go to get your MBA, MBAs focus inside here. You know, they're really good at computer systems, or they're good at sales and marketing, or stuff like this. They're inside here. So they're not well-rounded people. When I meet an MBA, it doesn't mean much to me. MBAs don't know how to build the entire system. They can run it. It's like what an entrepreneur does is build the race car, then you hire an MBA to drive it. Does that make sense? I don't want to drive it. I want to go on and build something else. That's what an entrepreneur does. It's a different mindset. That's why I can build so many different companies, because it's just a matter of building, turning it over to some smart guy to run it for me, or woman. Do I make sense? Yes. Real estate's the same deal. Real estate, you got to have a product, you got to know who your customers are, you got to check all the systems, the roofing system, plumbing system, heating system, electrical systems. You have to have legal documents. Is a deed impact? What does your loan say? How does the cash flow? How are you going to sell and market the place? So that's the difference between E's and S's and B's and I's. I put deals together and move on. That's the difference. Am I clear, you guys, here? Yes. The big difference here again is this. These are MBAs. This is military school. The only thing the military, for those who've ever been in the military, they focus on the mission. Sir, the mission of the United States Merchant Marine Academy, sir, is. That was the first thing I had to learn. The mission of the United States Marine Corps, sir, is to travel to faraway country, meet nice people, and shoot them. Yes, thank you. Not really, I'm only kidding, you know. But that's why I'm a Marine. You know, we were clear on our mission. Our mission was to kill them. That was what we're drilled into our head. Then you want to make sure you have the strongest team. I learned trust like I have never learned trust. I have a very good friend. He says, I'm alive today because dead men kept fighting. You know, he said there were guys who just shot the heck and they just kept pulling the trigger so he could escape. And when I came back to the States, I didn't find that out here. I found a bunch of wimpy MBA students, draft dodgers running our politics. You know, I just understand it. And then, are you a good leader? What a leader has the ability to do, what we learned in the Marine Corps, was ask young men to give their lives for their country. If you can do that, you can sell. Does that make sense, guys, here? Yes. And so those are the skills. So the reason I like network marketing and the military, police work and all this, is you learn this, and business schools teach you this. I believe the reason Donald Trump is so successful is he went to military school and he has his MBA. That's the difference. You guys got that? Yes. So it's up to you. It's who's on your team. Are you playing to win? You want to invest in securities here, small deals here, or fast track deals? It all comes down to how strong all of these 8 pieces are. If you have all pieces strong, you're very successful. You have some weak pieces here, the company suffers or dies, and it shows up in the cash flow statement. Our company, Rich Dad, was dying because we had a lot of MBA people who couldn't sell running the company. We had accountants and attorneys running our company, but they couldn't sell. Not creative people. I had to get rid of them. Get back to the mission. Does that make sense? Yes. So, you know, thank you very much. These are the 10 lessons. I wish you the best of luck. Remember, give and you shall receive. Teach other people, because that's what the board game was set up to do. The more you teach, the more you learn. The more you learn, the more you gain financially. And that's why this whole thing was set up. Again, cash flow, the 10 lessons, whether you're rich or poor, welcome. If you're rich enough, take the extra courses, take coaching and things like this. And if you have the time, help other people to learn. Start your own cash flow club. Okay? So thank you very much.